What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for July 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast. It is officially championship day here for the Ultimate Philly Sports Nickname Tournament. We will crown a new Ultimate Philly Sports nickname today. If you'd have told me at the beginning of the tournament that these were the two teams that would have been playing in the finals, I would have been like, okay, I can see it. But it will be the Broad Street Bullies, who beat the Flying Hawaiian with 71% of the vote, taking on Dr. J, who beat the answer with 56% of the vote. Now, throughout the tournament, the Broad Street Bullies averaged 81.4% votes, and Dr. J averaged 73.6% for each matchup. So basically, these two have been the most popular nicknames throughout the entire tournament. So again, no surprises that they are the two representing their respective regions. But now it's your turn. Who has the better Philly sports nickname? These might be two of the top nicknames in all of sports, let alone Philly. So make sure to get your vote in, spread the word. Let's set a record here for the championship. You can call or text 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. You can hit me up on my social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Jimbo_Mont. Let's get this thing growing. And as far as the social media goes, it is all connected to the YouTube channel and Spotify, so it's easier than ever to vote. Shout out to everyone listening on Apple Podcasts as well. Leave a review, comment, whatever you got to do over there as well. But most importantly, be sure to follow the YouTube channel. That's where most of the algorithms start from. So follow me on the YouTube, subscribe. Excuse me. But most importantly, get those votes in. Is it the Broad Street Bullies? Is it Dr. J? Who has the better Philly sports nickname? Let's crown a champion. And then tomorrow we kick off. Excuse me, I cannot get rid of this this tickle in my throat. I feel doubly like Baba Booey today. But we will kick off our Olympic coverage, spotlighting Philly people that were born or raised in the area and who are participating in these Olympics. Give you guys kind of a rooting interest for some of the more, some of them are the mainstream sports, but some of them are the more obscure. So if you're bored or you're watching with some of these sports, you have a rooting interest. But again, get those votes in for the Ultimate Philly Sports nickname and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But I don't know which way I would go for this one. I don't know if I go Broad Street Bullies or Dr. J. Time for you to decide, what is the Ultimate Philly Sports nickname? We can nickname the Phillies Brutal Loss because that was a brutal loss last night or yesterday afternoon. And it's a shame because Nola was solid, gave up the one run in 6 innings, got in a little bit of trouble there in the sixth, but had 6 strikeouts and left with, I believe it was a 3-1 lead, 4-1. I'm not sure if the other run came before or after he got out. And then Kirkering struggled. Marsh misplayed that ball. I think he might be hurt. They were talking about it. I was watching it / listening while I was at the gym. I had Fransky and Stocker on, and they were talking about how he may be hurt. So if he is, he just needs to sit down. And, I mean, I get it. You want to press, but that was just there's no reason for him to have missed that ball that basically would have ended that inning and essentially given the Phils the win. And then the 9th inning was funky. Gregory Soto, I don't know. I mean, he had 2 bad pitches, and he had the hit by pitch was weird because it only hit his jersey. And I get it. I don't know. I don't like that rule at all if it hits the equipment, but hey. And then the wild pitch was just terrible. Gave up the bunt, which was a good bunt on Minnesota's part. And then the ridiculous single, like it just was funky. But I think more so than anything, it amplifies the need that, or the idea that the Phillies need a bullpen bat, and they need a bullpen bat. They need someone out of the bullpen, and they need an outfield bat because they left March in there, and he probably should not have, but I mean, I don't know, and I don't. I get what the get the whole thing, but it just was just a brutal loss. It's just especially when you have a 4-1 lead, and I mean the good thing is the Braves aren't helping themselves out. So they got swept in the doubleheader with the Reds. So the Phillies actually gained a half a game yesterday, despite all that. It's just, to me, it's bizarre. But like I said, it's obvious they need that bullpen help. They need the bat off the bench. They're off today and come home for Cleveland this weekend. Looking forward to that because we're going down on Sunday. But like I said, thank God the Braves are not doing much right now. And somehow, some way, we gained a half a game yesterday. I don't get it, but and listen, it's all about at this point getting things right and getting into the postseason. So if whoever they bring in over the next 6 days helps do that, all will be forgotten. Be sure to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. They're doing great things over there with baseball. Won't be long before they kick off football as well. That is available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And then be sure to check out my boys over at Philly Goat as well. Ryan and the team are doing great things. They have the new McCarthy Kruk t-shirts and yard signs. And 10% of those proceeds will benefit the Battle Brothers Foundation, who they do great things for our vets. So go check it out. It is back to school time, so not too early to start getting your t-shirts so your kids have some gear to represent the Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, and Sixers this fall. So go to phillygoat.com. Be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off at checkout and to let Ryan know that you're a listener. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. All right, to the big news. And can we finally put all of the bullshit Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts don't get along thing to bed? It's over. Let's move on. 2023 is officially now in our rearview mirror. Quite honestly, I don't want to even think or talk about that season anymore and the collapse and everything. But Jalen came out and essentially said everybody's hungry. He trusts Mr. Lurie, Howie, and Coach Sirianni, and was asked a follow-up question. So kudos to, I know sometimes I'm hard on his takes sometimes, but kudos to Elliott Shore Parks for getting that follow-up question in there and specifically asking him about the relationship with Nick. And essentially, Jalen said we're in a great spot. I think he admitted that there was some frustration last year, and that probably wore on not only the relationship with him and Sirianni, but everybody. I mean, I think we all felt it as fans as well. We were like that Cardinals game. I feel as though we all kind of were like, how are they going to figure out what they're going to lose this game? It's just a matter of how. But I think that frustration, he's like, we had too much talent. The frustration was there, so I think that played a role in it. And it's just a matter of being on the same page and using it as a learning experience. And I think for the most part, his body language and just I guess you could say his tone and confidence, I believe him. I really do. And I've said it before, even if they're not best friends, it doesn't matter. Like, I work with people every day that are in positions of power over me that I'm not going to go out and have drinks with on a consistent basis. But I'm still able to respect them and do my job and get the job done. So I think this was the perfect response. Hopefully, I'm waiting for somehow somebody's going to spin this a different way. But I think it's fine. They're learning from last year. They're moving on. And I for one, am okay with it. He did mention his relationship with Kellen Moore and how he enjoys working with him, and that Kellen Moore trusts his judgment and instincts. So I don't know if that was a thinly veiled shot, sort of, because it was a different question and in a different part of the press conference. But I don't know if that was sort of Sirianni didn't trust. Like, I don't know. But at this point, it doesn't matter. They're in a great spot. He said he trusts everything. And everybody, to a man that has talked about Jalen and his leadership this offseason, has said he has done a great job being that vocal leader that the Eagles wanted him to be. and they're all like, I've never played with somebody like. So I think let's put it to bed. Honestly, just put it to bed. I feel better, like I said, because of his body language and his tone. Like it wasn't like he was ready for it. He was like, let me address a couple things here, and listen, that's my quarterback, man. I'll get the tears going like T.O. right now. That's my quarterback. So let's go. I expect big things from this team this year, and I'm working on some things for the Eagles preview episode, so stay tuned for that as well. BG confirmed what we already all knew, that he is going to be retiring after this season. So it is his farewell tour. So let's go. Let's put him out on top. Let's listen. Many of other players have retired after winning a Super Bowl. Why not Brandon Graham? James Bradbury was working with the second team yesterday as far as at safety. And I don't know if that's to kind of get some things on tape for him to be a more valuable trade chip. But we'll kind of monitor that. He did show up, which that was one of my big questions coming into camp. It was the Jalen comments and how he was going to handle it, and then whether James Bradbury was going to show up. So he's there. I do expect them to probably try to trade him as training camp goes on and guys unfortunately get injured. Hopefully it's not our guys getting injured and we have to keep him. And I also want to say one other thing, because I did see this on Crossing Broad, and I don't necessarily think I retweet and copy things. However, I do search Twitter and I search different sources and things like that to kind of get an idea of what's going on. I am not at training camp, so anything you hear me say is stuff that you could find on the internet. I take it and I give you my take on it. Not that they called me out, but they were calling out people that essentially were not at training camp and then reposting things. Like Elliott Shorts-Parks is the guy that does all of the stats for Jalen Hurts in training camp. And somebody else was retweeting, or not even retweeting Elliott stuff, but just sending it out almost like it was his own. So they called him out. But like, I'm never going to do that. Like excuse me. I readily admit I'm not at training camp. I would love to have a press pass and be at training camp, but I go through a lot of my different sources and kind of form my own sort of opinion on things. But the Jalen Hurts press conference, I watched the live stream, so my takeaway was good. And again, kudos to Elliott Shorts-Parks for getting that follow-up question in there right away. But just thought I'd let you know that. The Sixers, well, maybe who knows what's going on with the Sixers in their stadium, whether they're going to be down in the Fashion District, whether they're going to be in Camden. But come next August, the Flyers and Sixers Stadium will have a new name. Wells Fargo is ending their naming rights partnership, whatever you want to call it, with Comcast Spectacor and the arena down there. So that thing's been through so many different names. Like I fully expect that somebody like Wawa to just scoop in and it's going to be the Wawa Center, which actually I could think of worse, or even maybe the Tasty Cakes. I don't know, but I figured I'd mention that because that is something that was in the news. Also in the news, Michkov had himself a press conference yesterday. He will be wearing number 39 with the Flyers. Briere was quick to caution he's not the savior. We're building a team around him. And yes, I agree, Danny, and I know you're trying to temper expectations, but that's a pretty damn good cornerstone for your team. So maybe he's not the savior, and it is a team effort, but, it's a pretty firm cornerstone for this team. Michkov did say, though, I'm here to help this team win. He mentioned playoffs. He mentioned Stanley Cup. He's ready to go. He's looking to win. He's living out his dream, honoring his father's wishes. So you're going to see a very motivated Matvei Michkov. And like I've been saying, buckle up. It's going to be a fun fall here in Philly. All right, today we're going to go back to 2015. And on this day in 2015, Phillies beat the Cubs 5-0 at Wrigley Field. Ryan Howard went 2 for 4 with a homer, a double, and 3 RBI. to help out his old pal Hollywood Hamels, who was making his last start with the Phillies. It was pretty much a foregone conclusion at that point that after this start, the trade deadline would have been after or is before his next start. It was team was in the midst of going 63-99, so everybody knew Cole was going to be traded. Everybody knew this was going to be his last start with the Phillies, and all he did was go out and probably the most perfect way you can go out for any team, really, but like a way to just say, I love you, Philly. He went out and threw a no-hitter in his final start, and it was very close to a perfect game. Dexter Fowler was the only Cub to reach base. He walked twice. For the day, though, Cole Hamels had 13 strikeouts on 129 pitches, and then just was because this is what he did to say thank you to Philly, he went 1 for 3 at the plate with a double. He was the first player to ever be traded immediately following a no-hitter. So threw a no-hitter and then made his next start with another team. As 4 days later, he was traded to the Rangers. Now, quirky little stat from that, and this just goes to show how bad that 2015 Phillies team was. By the end of the season, he was still in a three-way tie for the team lead in wins by a pitcher. Aaron Harang and rookie Aaron Nola also had 6 wins that year. Hopefully, Aaron Nola will be able to bring home a championship just like Cole Hamels did. But on this day in 2015, Cole Hamels threw a no-hitter in his final start as a Philadelphia Philly, striking out 3, walking 2, and then also going 1 for 3 at the plate with a double, thanks in part to his old pal Ryan Howard, who sent him to Texas going 2 for 4 with a homer, double, and 3 RBI. And again, one of the, I mean, they just did the retirement ceremony, but one of the greatest Phillies. Don't win the World Series in 2008 without him. Maybe if he didn't struggle, we win it in 2009, but that's another topic for another show. But Cole Hamels, one of the all-time greats in Philly, threw a no-hitter against the Cubs in Wrigley Field in his final start with the Phillies, a 5-0 win for the Phils over the Cubs. One of the few bright spots of that season as they went 63-99, and just this is when it all came crashing down. Cole Hamels was traded. Ruben Amaro, I believe, was fired like in September of that year. It just a quick fall from grace in just 7 short years. Went from the penthouse to the outhouse, as they like to say. We'll have more on Eagles training camp tomorrow, but let me know your thoughts as we're getting ready to get back into questions of the day. How are you feeling about the Jalen Hurts thing? This is an unofficial question of the day. Like I said, I'm pumped. I think it was the perfect response, perfect answer for it. Let's put it to bed and move on. And just like he didn't say we're best friends. He doesn't have to. I don't care if they're best friends. Move on. Let's win some games, and we need to catch up. And I think this is the year we could tie the Eagles can tie the A's. Like, we need a team in Philly to have the most championships in Philly. It's ridiculous that the A's still are have the most championships in the city of Philadelphia. So let's go. Let's all pull together and get this done. But let me know what you think. 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Vote for what is the ultimate Philly sports nickname. Is it Dr. J? Is it Broad Street Bullies? Let me know. 2 of the greatest nicknames, like I said, in all of sports, not just Philadelphia. And while you're there, let me know what you think the Phillies should do. Any ideas on who you can get? I would love to have the kid from Oakland who can throw 104, and if it means giving up one of those guys, hey, if you bring me a championship, prospects, see you later. But get all your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking. Be sure to follow me or subscribe, I should say, to the YouTube channel at Jimbo_Mont. Go have yourselves a Thursday. We got a couple more good days here before the humidity comes back, so get out and enjoy it. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 25th, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.